A pleasant morning to each and everyone, especially to you, sir. Good morning. And for today, I will be able to discuss about tying the ratios together, the DuPont equation. Before we started, I would like to introduce my name. I am Rolly Baron Ibanay, and DuPont equation, a formula that shows that the rate of a return on equity can be found as the product of profit margin, total asset turnover, and equity multiplier. It shows the relationships among asset management, debt management, and profitability ratios. Meaning to say that the DuPont equation is a way to understand what drives a company return on equity, or the ROA. The ROA shows how well a company uses shareholders' money to generate profits. The DuPont equation breaks down the ROA into the three parts. Number one, we have the profit margin. This shows how much the profit company makes from its sales. Higher profit margins means the company is good and at turning sales into actual profit. 2. We have the total asset turnover. This measures how efficiently the company uses its assets to generate sales. The more sales per dollar of the assets, the better. Equity multiplier. This indicates how much of the company assets are financed by shareholders' equity versus debt. A higher equity multiplier means the company is using more debt related to equity. By multiplying these three components together, you get the ROE. This breakdown helps you see how well the company is managing its assets, its debt, and its profitability. We have discussed many ratios, so it would be useful to see how they work together to determine the ROE. For this, we will use the DuPont equation, a formula developed by the chemical giant's financial staff in 1920s. It is shown here for the allied and food processing industry. As you can see in my PowerPoint, here's a formula, but the formula was found in the module. That's why I only copy only with the formula. You will never be hesitate to get the formula as long as you know how to do it. Next, we have the classification of the three terms. These are the three classification of the three terms. One, we have the profit margin. When it comes about the profit margin, it tells us how much the firm earns on its sales. The ratios depends on primarily cost and sales prices. If a firm can command a premium price and hold down its costs, its profit margin will be high, which will help its ROE. Second, we have the total asset turnover. It is the multiplier that tells us how many times the profit margin is earned each year. Lastly, we have the equity multiplier, which is the adjustment factor. Okay, when it comes about the three terms, I think it is be useful to use it in the ROE. Okay, when it comes about the equity multiplier, it relates to the firm's use of debt. The industry equity multiplier can be obtained by using the industry ROE and ROA. As you can see in the right side of the formula, nor the apps, so the equity multipliers shows how much a company is using debt to finance its assets. You can find the industry equity multiplier by dividing its industry return on equity, the ROA by its return on assets on the ROA, or rather. Lastly, the ROA reduction would actually be somewhat less because if debt were lowered, interest payment would also decline, which would raise Allied profit margin. Allied analysis determined that the net effect of reduction in debt would still be a significant reduction in ROA. In addition with that, Allied reduces its debt, its interest payments will go down, which would slightly improve its profit margin. However, the overall effect will still be significant drop in return on equity, or the ROE. That's it, and thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you gain